Thank you, Stephen. Again, just picking up on this issue of food security, David alluded to it, is very important. I fully agree with the points he was making about that. But unfortunately, again, it was making the reference alluding to land in Rackheath. Now, I have fortunately had the opportunity to talk to the government's chief scientist about this very issue. And he's right, scientists are concerned about the future of food security for the country, and our demand for food will increase. And they do raise the issue about, well, hang on, if we need more land to provide for food production, how does that sit with the demand that we've got for housing growth? There's a tension there, and clearly there is a tension because we know that housing growth takes up land. But what the scientists are concerned about in that debate is the best producing agricultural land, which is your grade 1 agricultural land and land that's covered by green belt policy. Now, in the context of Norfolk, for a start, we haven't got any green belt. There's no green belt in Norfolk. There's no policy designation for green belt. So they're not talking about farming land in Norfolk. We do have agricultural land at grade 1, but it's not within the context of the growth triangle. And the reason why we are identifying the growth triangle as an area that can accommodate this development is because it isn't high quality agricultural land. The high quality agricultural land in Broadland is to the east. And quite clearly, if you look at what the Joint Core Strategy is saying, it's saying no development to the east because one of the constraints is high quality agricultural land. And I think if you run that argument through in terms of what the scientists are saying, in effect, it means that if we are to meet the housing demand, which is an objective, and provide for food security, unfortunately, it is the lower quality agricultural land that will have to be developed. And that's where that argument, again, I don't think is a valid one to run in this context, because unfortunately it's not supporting the point you want to make. I've talked about housing numbers. You know, we can bandy numbers about in terms of Rackheath itself. I'll tell you now, the proposal for Rackheath in terms of an eco-community is around about 4,150 new homes. So where 6,000 has come from, I don't know. But if you look at the proposals, that's the figure we're working towards at the moment. We won't know how many it will be until it starts coming forward as a planning application over time. And this development, if it happens, will take 15 to 20 years. So we won't get anywhere near the 4,150 or whatever it is until we're well into the 2020s. So let's just be clear about figures. So I think it's important. David talked about large housing estate. If the proposals for Rackheath come in as a large housing estate, you can rest assured that as the Chief Planner in Broadland District Council, I will not be recommending them for approval, because that is not what an eco-community is all about. We have got stringent policy guidance laid down by government in terms of what an eco-community is, and it is not a large housing estate, I can assure you.
Should be on brownfield sites.
I'll just correct a couple of points made about the Joint Core Strategy. Again, it was David Hook who made them. He talked about Newtown at Man Green. He talked about Heatherset and Wyndham joining up. Look at the Joint Core Strategy. There's no proposal for a Newtown at Man Green. There are no proposals from the Joint Core Strategy's perspective to join Wyndham and Heatherset up. The developers would like to see Wyndham and Heatherset joined up. And currently, as you may be aware, they are promoting various proposals to the public in that context. But that's not what the Joint Core Strategy is saying. And I think just to pick up on, in Nikki's presentation, I know she was presenting it on behalf of Richard Williams, the particular triangle diagram. Why would you draw a line around the outer ring road to compare it with the growth area triangle?
To show
what line does that depict?
To show that the new development will be twice the size of Norwich inside the ring road. That was the point.
Perspective.
Well, yes, but why not? So why not draw the line around the urban edge of Norwich? Why not draw it around the inner
Because
ring road?
because
What's so particular about the outer ring road? And you've answered the question so that you can show that the growth area triangle looks bigger than the area that sits within the inner ring road. So what is that proving? And I come back to the point I started making in terms of numbers. Don't be fooled into thinking that the growth area triangle means it will be completely built upon. It won't be, and it can't be. Great swathes of the growth area triangle are already covered by woodland, historic parkland, sites that are already protected from development. That is not going to change. The Joint Core Strategy is very clear in that respect. So it's not going to be completely concreted over. We're not going to get Norwich extending up to Wroxham. There will be development set within that area. Like just as we've got development currently set within that area, surrounded by open space. And coming back to Rackheath again, just picking up on Stuart's point, Hammerby wasn't the answer that Gordon Brown was speculating on as the solution to eco-town problems for the UK. He used it as an example of what has happened in Sweden. What the eco-town about is taking a model and developing it for a UK context. And it can't be replicated in the context of Hammerby, because one of the policy requirements that we will be adhering to very firmly in the context of Rackheath is that a minimum of 40% will have to be open space. In terms of densities, again, Stuart made reference to it in terms of what Millards was saying. Well, again, I have to say, there are, as I say, some things you've heard this afternoon that just weren't correct. That, I would suggest, is exactly what Stuart heard in terms of when he heard from Millards. Densities, in terms of the eco-community, are laid down, so that's what we will be looking to adhere to. And in terms of where trees are going to come from, again, I've got no idea at the moment what we're looking at in that context, but rest assured we will be looking to ensure that whatever happens, it happens to the right standard, and it will provide the future community in terms of what they need. I think so on that basis. And just one final point, Stephen, the NDR, again, Nikki referred to some drawings taken off the NCC website. If you want to know about the details of the NDR, then please ask for the County Council to come and talk to you about them. They will give you the exact details relating to the stretch of the NDR around its length. The plans that are shown on the website aren't as fully detailed as they need to be. The reason being because they're still being worked upon. But, you know, please listen to what the County Council officers are saying about the impact of that development. And just finally, if I may, while I've got the floor in that respect, the couple who say they weren't properly informed by Broadland Council, please see me afterwards, because if that's the case, then I need to follow up. Thank you.